Howdy, folks. Today we're looking at Violator #1 from 1994 in Image Comics. One of the stranger tributaries of consequence stemming from the founding of Image was the sustained return of Alan Moore to mainstream comics. Although it's generally agreed his Image work was of variable quality, it's nevertheless true that he wrote a fair amount in the period for Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, and Todd McFarlane's respective studios. That's in addition to his own beloved, if sadly abbreviated, 1963. It's probable that the best work from this period was his revamp of Supreme for Liefeld, but his Wildcats still has its fans as well. The book we're looking at today is, I'd argue, maybe not quite as memorable as those, but nevertheless deserves to be remembered as one of his more successful Image projects. Early Spawn was definitely an imperfect book, but it nevertheless succeeded as a total mood unto itself, an instantly recognizable mixture of ultra-violence, horror, and conspiracy story wrapped in the ambiance of McFarlane's overwrought gothic aesthetic. That was oddly a vibe Moore could dig, and his work for the franchise, such as the genuinely spooky Tour of Spawn's Hell in issue 8, did a better job of focusing that mass of floating signifiers into a cohesive narrative than McFarlane himself was yet capable of, which brings us today to arguably his single biggest Image project from the early 90s, the first solo story devoted to Spawn's archenemy, the sadistic demon known as the Violator. Although it may seem slight, it's actually an intricately plotted piece of work, a detailed 3-issue-long chase sequence involving multiple parties trying to kill the title character. The setup gives us the Violator stuck in his human form as the disgusting clown. For unknown reasons, he can't transform back to his demon self, so the mobsters he's been killing in the regular Spawn series take it upon themselves to throw him into the harbor in the middle of the night with a concrete block on his feet. What follows the clown's narrow escape is a chase across town, with the diminished demon harried not merely by the mob's hired man, the courteous mercenary known as the Admonisher, but his own family, the cruel Flebiac brothers, visiting from hell to torment their brother. Moore's partner here is Bart Sears, whose expertise with hyper-detailed layouts finds a good match in Moore's famously particular storytelling. The back of the book offers us examples of Moore's thumbnails alongside Sears' pencils, allowing us to see just how closely Sears followed the master's outline. Howdy, folks. Today we're looking at Violator #2 from 1994 in Image Comics. I've always imagined Alan Moore had a good time writing this, and not just because it's funny. Moore looked over the first stretch of Spawn and grasped in an instant something that Todd McFarlane himself seemed reluctant to acknowledge. The Spawn mythos, overwrought and underdeveloped as it was, worked best pitched up a few notches to black comedy. Spawn's Hell was rather featureless before Moore arrived on the scene. His first issue of Spawn, #8, was proof of concept for that tack, and this series represents a full development. The Violator as given is an absurd character, not one but two gross monster designs in one, with a casual attitude towards cracking wise while committing acts of staggering ultra-violence. So Moore sat down and had a good think on the question of how precisely to go about writing a book starring a demon from hell. The answer he arrived at was pure farce, albeit drenched in blood. The Violator's disgusting sense of humor certainly didn't erupt out of nowhere, so we're introduced in these pages to the whole disgusting family, the fabulous Flebiac brothers, a clan of wretched demons consisting of Vindicator, Vandalizer, Vaporizer, Vacillator, and of course, Violator himself. They still resent their brother for being a rotten stinker when they were kids. You know, hanging around hell, tearing apart the souls of the damned for fun, and they're very happy to kick him when he's down. The story itself takes place over a very brief period of time, no longer than a single evening. In a tight time frame and in a small space, the elements of the plot unfold with Moore's customary clockwork precision. The Violator just barely escapes from his brothers, leaving them to fend with the Admonisher. He's a gun-toting hitman who actually appears to be good at his job, to judge from the fact that he spends most of this issue holding his own against 4 demons from hell. The easy joke would have been for the Admonisher to be a real wimp, making him a relentless killing machine, and relentlessly polite no less, gives cover to the Violator to escape and figure out a plan to get all the above off his tail. Bart Sears is the artist here, with inks by Mark Pennington, and this was the series he was born to draw. From his earliest days on Justice League Europe, Spears specialized in grotesque, hyper-rendered physiology. Not every artist responds to Moore's hyper-detailed scripts, but Sears rises to the challenge here with page after page of ambitious knockout spreads, each over-the-top spectacle of gore, one more gruesome than the last. The story may be a lark, but it's been assembled with serious chops.